Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just got back from watching Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl, which is the sequel movie to Rascal Does Not Dream of a Bunny Girl Senpai, a 2018 anime that was animated by Cloverworks and stars Kaito Ishikawa and Asami Seto. That series ended up being one of the biggest surprise hits of 2018, considering that it seemed like a generic light novel adaptation that ended up reaching levels of Monogatari and My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu in how much it manages to get you to care about its characters, how well written it is, and how much it can make the audience cry when it comes to its emotional moments. And this film manages to essentially have one of the most emotional stories in the entire series, and happens to feature all the characters you know and love in great supporting roles, and gives you everything you'd want in a movie like this, all in the span of just 90 minutes. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story is that Sakuta, played by Kaito Ishikawa, and Mai, played by Asami Seto, are enjoying their romantic relationship as boyfriend and girlfriend, when all of a sudden Shoko, played by Inori Minase, enters Sakuta's life, and she was actually Sakuta's first love. Turns out she has her own problems with puberty syndrome, in a similar fashion to all the girls that are in Sakuta's life. Turns out she has a future version of herself that's from her college years, and a younger version of herself that's from her middle school years. And Sakuta has to find out the mystery of why this is happening and find a way to free Shoko from this bit of puberty syndrome, while also maintaining his relationship with Mai throughout this whole period. So the film's story definitely has elements from the original TV series as far as relatively realistic scenarios mixed in with an unrealistic, fantasy edge to them. Similar to how Mai was invisible to everyone, similar to how Kaede had to get through her shut-in phase. In Shoko's case, it's literally a case of time travel. And time travel stories like this can either go one of two ways, either being convoluted or being downright brilliant. And thankfully, this is the latter, since the rules and mechanics of the whole time travel business aren't too hard to really wrap your head around, and the focus is less on the more supernatural elements and more about the emotions of the characters as they go through them. And one thing that the movie and the TV show absolutely shares is their tendency to have really witty dialogue, especially between Sakuta and Mai. And that's one of the film's biggest strengths. Its dialogue and its writing are essentially just as good, if not better, than the original anime series. Especially since the film goes into some really emotional, dark places during the second half that I didn't expect it to do so, even if it doesn't go as all the way with them as some people would have expected. But but if they want to make a sequel series to this, that's kind of expected. But still, it's still a jolt of emotional energy that hits you right in the heart. Granted, the animation is just ever so slightly better than the series, but I always said that the series had above average animation anyways. So even though this is a film adaptation where they would naturally have more money for it, I do think outside of getting rid of the CGI crowds, there isn't that much different about the animation of this movie and the animation of the show, outside of a few select moments. And thankfully, those select moments are done at the most emotionally resonant and most psychologically charged times, and not just for the sake of showing off the good animation. And also the other characters, Futaba, Nodoka, Koga, and Kaede, they are featured in supporting roles, and all the actresses perform their parts extremely well. But thankfully, the focus of the film is kept on Sakuta, Shoko, and Mai, which is where its heart absolutely lies. It is unfortunate that I have to do this review during a pandemic, but I was unable to view the film when it first came out, and it's only now that I'm able to do so when Funimation is released it this weekend. And I'm glad they did, considering this was easily one of the most emotional and one of the most satisfying anime films that I've seen in recent times. With brilliant writing that rivals Snafu in its snappiness, emotional moments that I didn't expect out of these characters, and a finale that might be too much for some, but in my opinion, stands up there with some of my favorite anime films in its resonance. I see no other rating that I can give Rascal Does Not Dream of a Bunny Girl Senpai other than a 9 out of 10. See you next time.